back from Brodax, and I hope you enjoyed your tapes, but look at, in the time we've been gone, the water is still up to the edge of the field here. Brian's out here. He's got his new plane. We're going to probably go over there and try to get a couple flights with him, but what a mud hole. Holy mackerel. This is weeks later. This is 2 weeks after the big rain. You still can't drive onto the field. Look at this. We're still semi-aquatic. Wish we had floats like that last picture that we showed on the titles of the tape. But anyway, it does look like... you got your fishing pole, Brian?
Sunday, the water was up to the pad. So
it was up to the pad on Sunday?
Sunday till now it went down.
Okay, great. You got your new plane to trim?
Yeah, out there.
Okay, how bad is the grass? Well, Mikey couldn't cut the grass.
No.
You ruined the machine. You ruined it.
He just called me.
What did he say? He's coming up? Or?
No, he's working.
Oh, well, yeah, okay. Keep forgetting he's got to work for a living. All right, let's go look at the plane. What did we were going to take a choice of driving to Middlesex, which is an hour's ride, and that basically eats the day. We're going to fight the puddles. Now, to get from where the cars are out to where the pad is, Brian's got a little secret pathway. I'll follow you because my boots are dry for the first time in a long time.
Walk to this little tree and then straight out about the driest you're going to find.
Okay, we walk to the tree, and then we walk straight out. I got to remember this.
There is no perfectly dry, but
this is underwater. Oh, my feet are wet already. Oh. Well, but I'll tell you, when you want to fly a plane, dedication, hard-nosed dedication. Oh, God. The sickle would have been good to bring today. Well, this makes the decision of flying a bomber a very easy one.
No way were you going to do that.
No.
I left a message. I don't know.
No, I got the message. I was in the shower when I heard the phone.
Sunday, every time you land, if you catch a thing, the plane will whip on it.
Oh, yeah. Now, I did this when I was flying there before Brodax. I put that piece of plywood because I was sliding around like ice hockey going out there. Oh. Okay, so let me put the tools down. Oh, God, what a mess this is. All right, so tell me about the new plane. Do you weigh it?
Yeah, as is, it came out, it's 63 something. I didn't buff it or...
Okay.
You know, it was all guesstimate. I got a lot of tip weight in it, so...
Well, it's a nice bright color. You'll never lose that in the sky.
You know, for something that was... I wasn't going to put a lot of effort into finishing, and I started going with it, and I kind of regret not doing it, but...
It looks fine. The yellow canopy looks nice.
It's respectable.
The carbon gear looked nice? Yeah. How many flights you get on it?
Just 2 the other day. So.
Okay, so...
The wind was kicking. Every time you come around, the wind was stripping at you.
Well, you got good air now, so let's trim it. I think we got to you take the good air while you can trim, and I'll take the bad air while I may just go for donuts later. I'm not sure.
Well,
now, Brian did pretty much what I always think is a good thing when you have a brand new plane. The plane, by the way, has 2 flights on it. It needed a trim tab, which it looks like, well, we're going to keep an eye on it. We'll see about that. The air is pretty goofy here, so we don't want to be, and the field is mushy, so. Where Brian's going to gain a little bit now is because he's got a proven motor and tank from a plane he's already familiar with. In fact, he said he already used the needle setting that he had when he had this in Strega. The motor sounds like it's humming just about 2.4 in the way it should. And basically what we're going to look for, now you see what this, and I put this on one of the previous videos, what this allows us to do now is concentrate on the wing being level, the vertical and the horizontal CG. We don't have to spend the whole day worrying if the tank shim is wrong or if the motor's not going to break in, or we got proven stuff up in the front, hopefully. In fact, I think he already, that's the prop that he was using on Strega too. Now, not only do I like to see the wing, it looks a little bit up, just a tad. Again, you can't really see through the camera, but having a video, we're going to go back to the shop and look at the video. what you're really looking for is where does the plane go soft. Now, if that wing is up, it's going to be loose on inside maneuvers. If it's down, it's going to be loose on outside maneuvers. So knowing that, and having some video to look at, now the way that wing, actually doesn't look too bad. If I see the way the plane is turning, what I see right now, it looks like the handle might be too big. The plane is turning a little bit too violently for me. I like to see it with a little more of an easement instead of a violent. I just think it's easier to fly. What we can do is take the handle spacing, shrink it down, or just get another handle. But see what a big thing it is, we'll get most of this done. This is the third flight. We'll get most of this done hopefully in one day. When you have a new motor and a new tank and a new filter, all of that hardware stuff that you got to deal with, you never really get the plane trimmed for a few days. And I know Ken Kaiser, except for the motor, all those flights we recorded out at Brodax, his plane was just turnkey. Pitch the prop, put the Venturi in that I had, pitch the prop, so that all the work that I had with those motors got put right into his plane. And the Rojet is by far the easiest of all the really high-quality motors to tune. I can't imagine that anybody would miss the needle on a Rojet. And if they did, well, maybe it's back to Rojet 101, I don't know. But this is a Tiger 60. It's a motor that he's got a lot of experience with. Now I'll see what his feeling is before we make trim changes. When we start making I'm going to basically give Brian the whole day here, because as long as he can stay, I'd like to get this done, because 2 weeks from now we're having our circle burner contest. And I'm sure he wants to fly it in the contest. And I think later in the week I'll try to drive down to Middlesex, get a day of flying on the bomber, and we'll start getting ready. We have three actual weeks to prepare for the Nationals. But all that information I put on about taking trim stuff off previous planes, and in the case of this, it's real good, because all of these planes fly very much the same and trim very much the same. They're all the whole Cardinal Strega series of planes, they're very friendly. They're based on Big Jim Greenaway's Pattern Master Aerodynamics. They trim out very easily. It seems like they're just user-friendly is the right word. Well, let's see how he feels at the end of the flight. Here's the thing. You see the paint that's on the lead-outs? Right. Hey, I want to scrape that paint off. Okay. That isn't helping you. I want to get that off. I want to get some oil or grease. Even if you go take the dipstick out of your car, get some oil we can put on that. Because that's going to googe it up and just make chewing gum there.
I got oil on the plane.
Well, take some oil, just wipe the plane off and put some on it. Do it with your fingernail if you can.
So throw the dope, but don't come off. I didn't really think that was him.
No, that's...
All right, but...
The wing looked half level, and if it's turning unequally, we'll adjust the handle. I would say the handle is on the big side. You know, to me it looked like you were overturning. But it may be that it's a new plane and you're...
I'm banging.
Okay. It's sure not off by a lot. See if you can get some oil on those lead-outs. You know what I've been doing, and you may want to do it. I took a little thing of this molybdenum grease that has Teflon, and when I fly the bomber, I have a little thing right in it, and just put a drop on the lead-outs.
Nice clean oil.
Yeah, anything. Get the oil, the castor oil is fine. Just to get that smoother. And next time you watch a TV program, sit there and work the controls. You have any WD-40 in the car? Any of that kind of stuff?
Nope, didn't bring it.
We retaped the elevators. The tape Brian had for the elevators was not, it was in too much tension. I think you're a lot better now. What I really would like to do, neither one of us brought our little oil can with WD-40, that would have helped, but I think you can fly it again. And I'll look this time. You feel the wing is kind of level? Or it's real close, Brian.
Better than it was.
It's real close. And did you check the vertical, CG? Close?
Vertical?
No, just check it when you get home. Hang it up on a nail and get a plumb bob. Hang it up on a thing.
Do if it's off. Oh,
Well, you can put heavier wheels or lighter wheels. And then just the rest of the time, see. No, you can't tell until it's on a plumb bob. You're right. Even, Brian, if it's off a 1/16th of an inch, it's too much. It's got to be with a plumb bob or level it, you can tell. We can do it at my cell. I got a nail and a beam just for that.
What we want to do is get it perfectly straight up and down, obviously. I think it's leaning like that just by holding it.
Well, then, the tab, you can either do it with a tab or you can do it with, wheels, wheel pants, anything. But for right now, get another flight and see how it feels. What we did off camera too, we measured the lines, because a lot of times you put lines from one plane to another. And just to make sure we're not over 70 feet, these were a little over 68 feet, which is good. A new plane should be on lines a little shorter than what you ultimately want to wind up with. Now, this is a true story, because Brian has already built 2 other Cardinals. The one that looks like a World War I German plane, but a 4-stroke. And he also had made another one that he had sold the wing, or I think he gave the wing away. But anyway, the point is, by having the stuff that was on the plane before, and it's so critical, so nice, by having things like the carbon gear and small wheels that keep the weight of the plane down, so he's not dealing with an overweight plane, and by having just a common sense approach, get all this done at home. And I wish he would have brought a little can of WD-40, because the only thing that's still, the hinges are kind of new on this, so we're going to work on that back at the shop. And I know, because he's a car mechanic, he has these little spray cans of oil that have Teflon in it. Would have been nice if he had one here. Another thing we could do back at the shop if he wants, depends how much ambition he has today, he could polish up the spinner, make it chrome. Cowling came out nice. You can always put the little glass wheel pants on here if you want to. Well, you're not going to put glass pants on today. I guess you didn't bring the wheel pants, huh? Forget the wheel pants today. Forget it. You got the right. Forget the wheel pants until his field dries out. Jeez. Listen, forgetting the flights today.
Remove wheels by any chance?
Yeah, I saw. Now look, Brian has these things with cotter pins.
Just drill them and put them with the little.
Yeah. I don't like this sticking out though. That's.
Well, I didn't know what I was going to do or what was going to be until later. So.
Okay. All right, fuel it up and let's see if you're more comfortable now than you were before. Actually, for a guy with 3 flights on a plane, you look pretty happy to me. I don't know. So you're not going to give this to Mikey or to Sabatino, or not for a few years anyway?
Mike was supposed to be the first one to fly it. I couldn't wait for him. More superstition than anything right at this point. In the beginning was necessity, but now...
No. You're flying good enough. You should be flying other people's planes now and helping them. You don't even need me here, really. See, that's the beautiful part. If you can help somebody get to the point where they can help other people, like Mikey is now. Mikey is now a teacher, not a student.
What I can't see when I'm flying, and I know you can see it, I can't tell you that my plane is 100% level flying from the handle.
Well, I can see that from the handle.
I can see that it got better.
But the way you tell is, where does it go soft? Do some vertical 8s, and where it goes soft. If you can identify where it goes soft, we could figure the rest out. And you can always, do the Jimmy Casale thing. If you don't know which way to go, make 2 trim tabs. Put one on the bottom, fly a flight. Did it get better or worse? Put one on the top, better or worse. Yeah, you can go about it scientifically, seat of the pants, or you can. It's not like
it has someone on out here eyeballing it.
Yeah, well, of course. If you just happen to have, a lot of times I don't have anybody around.
I just threw that on today. I came, I put that trim, I taped it on, I made it here.
Well, you always have a box of trim tabs in when you're flying a new plane. That's always helpful.
Turned out real good.
Now, if you always remember to do things in sequence and do one thing at a time, you just make it a lot easier to trace or track your progress. If you start changing 6 things every flight, it just makes it more difficult. I guess, if you're a super expert flyer, sure you can. I'm looking, this looks up inverted. I'm looking, let's see. Still up inverted. Up inverted usually means the outside loops are going to be a little softer than the inside. Now I can feel, because of having 80 million flights, I can feel it in flight, but Brian's probably not yet at the level where he can feel it. But even so, I would always rather have, if I had somebody at the field confirm my feelings. Remember that old thing when we were trimming Bill Hummel's Cardinal? 2 eyes are better than 1, 4 eyes are better than 2, 6 are better than 8, 12 are better than 15. I don't know. You get the picture. Now with the elevators freed up a little, what I'm hoping, this plane flies level just great and seems to have, see, to me that last corner is too sharp. I don't like, see, he can't control that last corner. So the handle could be a little, we could try the handle being a little smaller, or he can just let these controls wear, and he really doesn't have enough slop in it. And without enough slop, you're going to be fighting this until the plane has 1,000 flights on it, and then it'll wear into where it should be. But those are all little minor things. This is the 4th flight of the plane, by the way. And I hope some of this information, or if you just see how other people go about trimming, well, you can trim it too. There's no secret to doing any of this stuff. And I hope just some of the little things that we've tried and we're able to do for other people, some of the things like with Bill Hummel and that, you can just put to work right on your plane right away, and here's where you can tell. If it's soft here, see if it's soft? And when it's soft on one side, the other side it'll always be solid as a rock, because you're gaining. You're trading tension in insides for outsides until you get the wing level. So I'm thinking we're going to need a little tab adjustment here. And that's probably all the flying we're going to be able to get today, because Brian's going to go do some masonry work on his house, and I'm trying to catch up on orders and get some of these Strega kits shipped out as soon as I can. This time of year, we're just extremely, extremely busy. So, now it was good to see, even though we worked through some pretty terrible conditions, good to see Brian Manau's new Cardinal flying as well as it is. Now he had a lot of concerns. In fact, he was not going to finish the plane. And I encouraged him, because he had a wing that had a little bit of a twist in it. I said, finish it and put a trim tab on it. He had all this work in it. But anyway, he's gotten to fly it. Looks like it flies good. One of the things I wanted to make a point of now, because we've done this a couple times. First off, we've done it with Kent. And I'm not going to go back to that original video, but how he took all the information from his 2 original Stregas and managed to get that into the new Strega, and out at Brodax in a matter of a very few flights. Plane is relatively well trimmed, but he's got all this information from years and years of flying right into the plane the first day. Now that's a significant gain over, and I'm just going to make an example up, years ago when you had, here's just one example of things, and I'll call this leapfrogging. We used to use these aluminum Vico bell cranks, and if I remember right, or the nylons, they had 3 holes. Well, here's exactly what would happen. And you'd have a horn that had 3 holes, and a tail horn that had 3 holes. And what would happen? You'd build, and I'm just going to use my own example. I'd build an Obler, a Thunderbird, a Smoothie, because it really only had a limited amount of kits back then. And you'd look at the plans, and the plans would show maybe this hole. So you'd say, well, which hole should I put this in? And let's try to get cute. We'll put it in this hole, and then we'll go from that hole to this hole. And you'd never get this ratios, and because it was a 3-inch bell crank, everything was ultra sensitive. Well, what's happened over the years is, and this is what I call leapfrogging, we've arrived at ratios that, first off, we've all, I think it's universal, even if you have a half-A ship, you use a 4-inch bell crank. I don't know anybody uses 3-inch bell cranks anymore. Maybe there's somebody, but I'm not one of them. And in fact, when I made the bell crank mold, I didn't even want that extra hole in there, so that people couldn't get confused. This system is designed to work. It's a system, and it's designed to work one way, and it's designed to go into a Pro-Stun Products at that point in time system. It's made to go that way into the top hole. And then the elevator hole, years ago we used to make special elevator horns that only had one hole, so you couldn't get it wrong. Well, we don't do that anymore, because we've just learned that whatever we sell, we use the other one up first, and it just got too complicated. But I always send a little set of instructions along with the controls, so you really only have one choice. Now, if you've eliminated the choices, and this is true of Kent, or of anybody who builds a Cardinal kit, because these controls come right with the Cardinal, but this leapfrogging thing of eliminating the chance that you can have this wrong. So this is the word I use here is leapfrogging, but it's the ability to take everything you've learned up to that point and put it into your new ship. So you're never hitting the reset button. Now this is not really true, because what would happen here is I would get the idea, oh, now I'm going to build a roughie, let's say. Oh, now instead of this bell crank, this one comes with it. And now the holes are different. And now the horns, the Vico horns had no bushing. You didn't know which one to use. Well, there's just too many choices. But the thing is, once you get it right, it's right forever. Now what I did on the Brodak video is I had several people of several different parts of the country that never get to fly my plane and see how they like the ratios and the feel and everything. And I think to a man, they were kind of happy with the fact that we've put 100 years of development, thousands of dollars worth of stuff to get this right. When you start experimenting, and you're going to it's not a random thing to just go off and make a bell crank. Now, we used to do this years ago. In fact, I still have chunks of nylon where we cut out, Lou Dudka would buy a sheet of nylon and we cut bell cranks. And then somebody would say in the middle of it, I want fast controls. They drill a hole here. I want slow controls. I want a short down arm. Glenn Metter used to put the down arm shorter because his plane didn't turn equally. And I'm thinking, what we need is one thing that we can all get dialed into. Now, when you combine this with a handle that has the proper adjustable spacing, and of course, this is the heart of any plane. This is the control system. When you have this, and you can pre-tune it to the plane you flew before, and then drop it right in, you have what Kent Tyser had, and what Brian Manow has, and I'm sure Bill Hummel has. You have years of development that you've saved yourself having to cut into the plane. How many people have cut into a plane with a 3-inch bell crank to move the wire back out or in? Now, Tom Dixon even talked about this years ago with these 3-inch bell cranks and 4-inch handles, and I don't know. People still have them in their toolbox, but I see most people using this type of handle where you can adjust it. And if they don't, they have one with a bar if it doesn't bother their knuckles, if you have little tiny hands. Well, I found that if you can get all this information and get it into your next ship, you wind up light years ahead of the guy that's out there just picking pieces off the shelf. These are the most common mistakes that I see and hear every day from people that have built a plane. Doesn't matter if it's a Brodak kit, if it's a Windy Cardinal, a Randy Smith SV11, an Impact kit. It doesn't matter. The mistakes are the same. Now, a lot of people, this is a common mistake that I see, is they just happen to have, they're building a plane from scratch, and they happen to have brand A bell crank. Well, just to show this up close. Brand A. They have brand B horns, and maybe these horns have the little flip in them or the little slider or whatever, or Tom Morris's horns or Windy horns. It doesn't matter. Now, here's where the problem really starts out, is the person that might have designed this bell crank, it's this ratio. There's a ratio here. Now, let's put the handle into this too, because you're starting out with something that you want to be able to move the handle in a certain amount of degrees. And now the problem is every individual is different. Some people have that much travel. Some people have, for instance, Bob Giesche's, if you were to go pick up the handle on Bob Giesche's plane, you move it very little, and the flaps and elevators move dramatically. Now on my system, and it's only to suit me, it's like a pair of shoes, my handle moves an amount that suits me, which I think is a little more than the average. So I call that slow controls. Now, when I've looked at Paul Walker's control system, his is even slower than mine. So it means he's got a very, very fluid hand motion. But these control ratios, once you find a set that works for you, now if you happen to like my ratios, just copy them off the plans and you're done. If you like Tom Morris's ratios, which may or may not be different, well, you see where I'm going with this. But what you want to always do, no matter what, the one key thing here is once you find a system that works for you, and let's just say that this is the system that's going to work for you, so that we're politically correct, you use Windy's handle, Tom Morris belt crank, and Bobby Hunt horns. Just to make an example. Well, if that works for you, use it over and over again. But what I think you have a better choice of doing, and I would highly suggest you make, is make one plane with all Windy controls in them. Everything. Belt crank with the lead outs, make a whole system. Try it, see if you like it. The next plane, use all Tom Morris's stuff. The next plane, use all of whatever another person. Use their whole packages. Don't mix and match and try to invent. And when you add in anything the more adjustments you put into this, the more chance there is of, number one, failure or wear and tear. It's nice to be able to adjust things and have Allen screws and things all over the place, but I purposely make my handle, and it's on purpose, that there's no Allen screws. There's nothing to loosen or adjust. Because the one time it'll loosen up is at a contest, or at Brodex, or at the Nats. So my feeling is, if for an example, if you're making an Impact, you're making one of the Moon Brother kits, use exactly the controls, exactly the way they show them on the plans, because that's how Paul Walker developed this. The belt crank, find out what kind of handle he used, what kind of horns, and if that suits you, well, you're done. Now, if you find it's way too slow or way too fast, the next plane, try Brand V, Brand C, or whatever. It turns out that Brian Kent, many of the people, Mike Kajeski, that they use the whole system. They get it right on the first shot. The first day you're out flying the plane flies. And that's such a significant thing. That's a tremendously significant thing. It puts you light years ahead in terms of having fun, too. The one thing you don't want to do is mix and match. And just, if you have a belt crank and you just randomly pick spots, or if you have an adjuster and you just randomly pick where it's going to be, I don't know that you don't get lost here somewhere. Too many adjustments are just, I don't know, they may be benefits if you build terribly crooked planes, but I usually find out everything in a lot of my planes, some of them come apart, some have hatches, they all wind up at 1-to-1. Almost always. What my goal is to have a linear feel. That means when I move the handle a little bit, the plane responds a little bit. When I move it a lot, it moves a lot. In a complete linear mode. What happens is, because of the ratios and belt crank, the geometry, nothing is really linear. It's the opposite. It gets non-linear at times. But you can compensate for that in a lot of ways. You can make the system a little faster than it should be, and this is what I've done, and then put slop in the tail. And this is the part people always, they read somewhere in Stunt News or somewhere that, oh, slop doesn't work, this guy doesn't use slop, that guy doesn't. Well, you know what? The only way you're going to know is you try it yourself. And what this would tend to mean is you'd like to have this joint relatively slop-free, but not, I wouldn't make myself crazy worrying about thousands. But it's this one that back here, and you can either do it at this end or at this end. You want to have the horn, a bushing, and a piece of 1/8-inch tubing, the fuel line, the fuel tank tubing. And then you want to put your wire through. Now, you line up the whole plane, and when you're all done, you just either take the wheel collar or soldered washer off, so that you wind up with it centered also, that you have the same amount of slop up and down. Now, when people have it, that it doesn't work for them, it usually means they don't have it lined up properly. This is the amount of slop. When you take that piece of tubing out, you have a 1/8 hole, 3 30-second wire, and trust me, Kent Ticer, this is the only thing that's wrong with his plane. He's going to have to cut and put a hatch before the team trials. I'm sure he doesn't want to do it before the Nats, but when he does this, he will gain. Brian Manau's plane, the controls were stiff. He had the hinge lines taped too tightly. Having the tape on the hinge lines properly and having the slop, this gives you the linear feel that we all seem to be looking for. And several people that flew Miss Ashley, the first comment was, wow, it's got a nice feel. I remember hearing Paul Walker talk about a turn quality. Any plane, you can trim any plane, just put a lead tail wheel on it, it'll go and turn. What you want is that turn where it'll stop. Turn, it'll stop. And you watch the B-25 video where it's flying. It stops, it stops, it stops. That's what I think is ultimately the goal I'd like to have and what's the most impressive to the judges. It's not the most violent corner because we're not. The rules say you're having a corner contest, but you're not. You're looking for the appearance of a clean, controlled corner, a linear feel. The correct ratios, using sets of things that match, having the right slop, and always having the hinge lines taped, puts the whole deck stacked in your favor. Now here we are looking at some of the things at Brodach. The same thing with Kent. How quick Kent's plane came right to life with really no aggravation, no problems. Same thing, and it wouldn't matter if you have a Cavalier, it wouldn't matter if you have an old-time stunt plane. It's using the things that you've learned in the past and not constantly reinventing things that really saves you the time. And we really proved that at Brodach, so I think we did anyway. Same thing, here's Midgley's plane. Same thing with Midgley's plane. All the correct ratios, all the things that we know work, all of the things, the lines even that he used on the plane before it. But of course there's always a downside. The downside is if you write this kind of article and you do it with your heart in the right place, you write it out on Stuka Stunt or Stunt News, what happens? You get these rebuttals and people saying, oh no, nobody ever used slop, and and then you get into this tit for tat thing. You know what? I'm going to put it on my video, but I'm not going to start engaging in a conversation or altercation with some of the people that seem to enjoy that part of it more than actually helping people. I'll let anybody that thinks my stuff works good just take a look at the B-25, and that'll do my talking for me. And the people that have a counterpoint, I'll wait to see how their planes fly. Now, as you can probably imagine, being back from Brodach, we have a load of mail to work on, a load of parts for Rich Oliver. We're trying to get ready for the Nats. One of the things that we have to work around right now, and I'm going to go into this a little bit later because it's something I think a lot of people can take advantage of. We've had the worst spring in history. We have mud, we have fields underwater, fields that we can't use on a weekend, fields we can't use till 10 o'clock. It's terrible, but one of the bright spots, and it's probably the brightest spot of the whole winter, was meeting Ed Cotton from Canada. Ed has just been a great friend. He's sent a lot of pictures, and I'm going to go through these. This is Ed Cotton right here with one of his RC planes. He's a very accomplished modeler. We've already put on the video some of he makes scale models, architectural models. Well, I had asked him casually if he ever had one I could use on my train layout, 1/48 scale, and maybe he does, I don't know. If not, just build one. Listen. Anyway, that's what he does for a living, and obviously he's a top-level guy or he wouldn't be smiling like this. Anyway, check this out. This is another one of Ed's models. Now, what Ed did is he's purchased some Typhoon plans from Elliott Scott and from me, and we sent him a copy of our Typhoon, the picture that Elliott drew. It's a one-of-a-kind. I hope he has room on his shop walls for it. Here's one of the trophy winners here. Now look, you know what I like about this? Obviously he's a happy young man, but check this is a windy knee pad. Okay, this is Chris with his Typhoon. I'm going to assume that that's his son. Or son. Here's a nice. Okay, here's the picture. It says Ed and son Chris. Ed, you can tell I'd make a great, and Barbara Walters doesn't have anything to worry about, does she? Doesn't it look like he has pontoons on this or something? I'm sure that's the rack that holds the plane, but just from this picture, it looks like he's got pontoons. Now, if you look at this real close, he said this was an RC modeler, February of this year. This is the cannon detail, the gun detail on his scale model. So we really look forward to having Ed join us, or having us join him. I look forward to, he's going to make me a little model of his Typhoon for the model railroad. We hope we'll get that soon. And we appreciate all the people that have sent little models in. We have about, 15, 20 of them up there. Even the little Dubjet speed models look great. Anyway, Ed, we really look forward to hearing from you again, but we've got a lot of stuff to go through today. It's going to be a busy day. This came from Gerald Champ today. Gerald Champ, of course, has been a friend for many years, many years. And I have to tell you, one of the ways we got to be such good friends is years ago I was building maybe Gerald can correct this if it's wrong. I was building a Nobler and I wanted banner wheels or something like banner wheels, and Gerald had a pair and he just sent them to me, and we got to be friends for, God, this is going to be probably more than 25 years. Anyway, one of the things I had never seen the whole movie. It's an old movie, but it's 30, and there's a lot of B-25 footage on it. So what I'm going to do is, from his master copy, make myself a copy, because over this winter when we're working on the A26 and other related projects, we're really going to want to have a copy of this in stock. That's from Gerald Champ. Gerald, I really appreciate it. We also got this from our good friend Bruce Hunt. I want to get his, just look up this website. Bruce Hunt, of course, has sent us many other videos. This is another one that he's made available. And like all of Bruce's stuff, it's nicely edited. And I think he has a real good feel for capturing the event as it really is. In fact, what I'm going to do is start a collection of his videos here. We may put some of this on the beginning or the end or somewhere where we need to fill in a couple minutes. Just to give you an idea, this is from the Northwest Regional Championships. I haven't looked at it yet because for the next month we're going to be copying Brodak tapes. We have to send out 60 sets of Brodak tapes, and that usually ties us up right up to the Nats time with making copies. I also got a video from Pete Klepsik today of some train stuff, of him overhauling a T-34. I don't even know, Byron Model Air Show. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of cool stuff that's either trains or on this video too. So anyway, we've got a lot of neat stuff. Now the reason I like to have this stuff, because we have a really long building season coming up, and we're going to really be pulling out all the stops this year. And let me go into what our master plan is here, so people can kind of figure out what we're trying to accomplish. One of the things I feel that I'm a little bit better than most people, actually because it was part of the job I did for Ford Motor Company for almost 19 years, I had to schedule work and prioritize jobs. Now, this will help every single person that's trying to build models. Here's what we all suffer from, in my estimation. Years ago, we had these little Ozzie and Harriet families, and I certainly had one, and we all had an 8-hour-a-day job, and we all had a 3-year-old car, and we had this little lifestyle that I don't know how it worked out. Women certainly didn't work. Nobody in my family worked except my mother after my father died, but we had these Ozzie and Harriet little lifestyles. What happened? From 5 o'clock to midnight and all weekend, you had unlimited time. I don't know how this happened, but people had time to burn. It seemed like we sat around the porch. We'd build Noblers when I was a kid. I don't know, I guess it's because you're a kid too. But later on in life, well, as you can imagine, along comes children, and along comes college bills, and along comes, you want to run your own bit. Boy, am I getting to be a good artist. And you have other little things that have to take care of. You have Chickadoodle, you have the pond. So what happens is now the time that you have is like, wow, it's very little. And I think we all fit this mold, and we all can take advantage of a thing that I just call, for lack of a better word, time management. Now, time management, another good word for it would be to prioritize. And what's happened in the last year, I've had to really hunker down in terms of time management, because my time, what used to be a lot more time in years gone by, because of the lifestyle that Karen and I have, and because of our garden, and because of our fish and our birds and our basically so many things happening at once, we really have to be aware of every minute that we spend. Now, what's added to this unique year, what's added an awful lot that's difficult to resolve, is we don't have other things that in years gone by, my business was a lot smaller. The business has grown to the point where I really have to be here a lot more physical time, and my time is even worse now. Now you add to that what's happened also is the problems that Les, his family, has had some health-related problems. We've also had to factor in the fact that we have so much rain and the weather has been so bad that this amount of time that's left is almost nothing. But when you know you're under the gun, that's the time that you can take advantage of time management. And let me just show you what I've done to kind of make this work. If you think of time you have available, let's take a typical Saturday. Now, let's be realistic. Most of us don't have 14 hours. And what happens in my case, here's exactly what happens. On a typical Saturday, Karen needs to allocate about 2 hours we spend cleaning the house, doing landscaping, gardening. So I try to pick the 2 hours of the day, if that's possible, when I normally would be low on energy, and my attention span might be limited. I also have to take factor into this that usually my email, and I do that twice a day, is going to take about an hour. Well, I can do that. Let's give 2 hours to the email and other related things. Let's figure out, maybe I need about 3 hours to do the molding work. But here's what's left. I have a morning, and I have some time at night. And this is just, you can make your own little chart. Well, what it means here is this is now my free time. So if I want to work on my modeling time, I get some modeling time, and I get some modeling time at the end of the day. Now, when people tell me they're really short on time, they don't have any time, usually, and Dave Midgley was once one of the people, never could get anything done because he never had any time. He's got young kids. His things are all taken up. I said, you know what you do if you want more modeling time? Here's the deal. Do what I do in the summer. Now, this is my summer plan, is I get up 2 hours earlier. And now look what's just changed. I've got a 7-hour chunk of time and a 3-hour chunk of time. Well, now I've got something, and what am I out? 2 hours of sleep? I learn to live on less. It also gets me ready for, in the summer, a lot of times I go flying early in the morning, and by 9 o'clock I'm back at the house. Now I have 3 hours that I can add to my business time, or I have the 3-hour gap at the end of the day that I can, if we're doing things like we just got done making a bunch of Richard Oliver's pipes. Manipulating this time, if you just do it freelance, sometimes you never figure out where the time went. If you keep track of it, make a little chart of where you're going to do things, and my time, because of the way my body works, I have a cup of coffee at 6 a.m. and at 10 after 6, I'm a lightning rod. I can go out, do the heaviest work, do the most disgusting work, and here it's only 10 o'clock, I've got 4 hours of work done. Well, even if I wanted to run up the flying field now, or reverse that, well, now I could almost fly every day if the weather would cooperate, and I still get some time at the end of the day to do my modeling. So just some rough thoughts. If you chart it out where it's going, what's happening, a lot of times you look and say, oh gee whiz, if I just got up an hour earlier, if I just worked an hour later, you could double the amount of time, and especially true if you're in an environment like we are now where time is very limited. So just think of, there's always time at both ends of the day. You either can get up an hour earlier, and if your family's still in bed, well, that's okay. Work downstairs for an hour, come up and have breakfast with them. In my case, Karen almost always goes to bed before I do. And she reads a book or she watches TV. Some of the shows she watches, the homemaker shows, I'm not interested in. I'm not interested in any TV. I wish we didn't even have a TV. But I like to have a couple hours of modeling or working on my planes or working on a model railroad. Both ends of the day are always available to you. And you'd be amazed how quick you get used to being up an hour later or getting up an hour early in the morning. in a matter of 2 weeks, you're acclimated to it, and you've increased the amount of time you have available. Almost everybody I've suggested they try this says, wow, I didn't know it was going to be that easy. Started off the winter with Les, thinking we were going to get a 40 ship done by spring. Well, as you probably know, Les has had some very serious health issues in his family, and he's just now getting to where we can be in the shop on a regular basis, so we're going to move right along. But in the meantime, and here's the point, we have, I think, and I'm not sure, I think we have 7 sets of wings that he's got experiments done on. I know there's 4 of the ones that are already glassed. But anyway, now we can go through these and pick the best ones and kind of finalize that technology and get that down to where he'll take the best wing for the ship that he's going to ultimately build. He's already made the wheel pant, the carvings for the wheel pants, and several other little pieces. But watch what we're doing, because this is important. We're using summertime. This is time that you normally would not even be doing any real modeling, and we've made a bunch of little parts that as soon as fall gets here, we're going to be able to build that plane really quick. We're going to have several sets of wings. We're going to be ready to go. The wings are already sheeted and glassed. Some of them are joined, some aren't. Some have tips, some don't. We're really, I don't even know where we are. But now that Les is back full time, I'm hoping this project, at least between now and fall, we're going to be able to get a lot of that done, and he's going to finalize the plans, and Johnny already has the wing technology finalized. But there's a bonus to this. Whichever wing we're not going to use, and these are ultralight foam wings, whichever wing, let's say that's the one that comes out an ounce too heavy, I'm going to want to use that wing for my electric Cardinal. Now, Sergio Zegras has already told me he would work along with me, get me the hottest set, I'll call it the hottest setup. Mike Palco has the best one I've seen so far. But we're going to see if we can up the bar a little bit, and by using up the extra parts that we experimented on, these glass foam wings, we'll somehow have an electric Cardinal out of it too. What we did in the fall of last year, we started the A26 project. We made 3 sets of foam wings. I joined and finished, put the dihedral brake in, put the tips on, and glassed wing number 1. That one went to Mike Costello. Wing number 2 is sheeted but not joined. That one is probably going to wind up being mine. And we're looking for one other candidate to buy a wing. We don't know. The reason we want 3 people on board, if we can, is because we're going to, one of the next steps is, in fact, maybe today we'll get Les over here. We're going to draw the plans for the fuselage. And there's some very high-tech stuff that Les wanted to go over on video. And in fact, I'll do a little drawing board here just to give you what we're trying to do. But if we have a spare wing, which we always had for the B-25, let's say you join this wing and it gets way too heavy. Well, the first one came out lighter, 3 ounces lighter than the B-25 wing. Well, because there's less dihedral brakes, and it's more involved than just the fact that it's a little bit thinner wing. The airfoil is the same, but the sheeting was a little thinner. But what will happen if this wing doesn't come out as well as we'd like, or something happens? We always want to have that spare wing. Now, if somebody in the club wanted to make a scale plane that they weren't going to compete and stunt with, well, we'd sell them this wing. Because if one comes out too heavy, the scale guys don't matter. It's only the stunt guys that worry about that last ounce. But anyway, what we're doing is we're taking advantage of time management. We have a little bit of time at the beginning and the end of every day, and we're trying to do little parts of what's going to be the fall building program, so that when fall comes, we're going to have all these component parts made and be able to just go in a matter of 2 or 3 weeks assemble planes. And that's one of the goals we have. And as the final goal, I really want to have, and I'm going to be investigating this with Sergio, an electric Cardinal. I just think if we can do that, that'll just add a lot to our little building program. Now, the thing, and this is the philosophy part of this, the thing that's nice about the A26, first off, I think it's going to be an easier plane to build than the B-25 for a lot of reasons. less dihedral brakes. We already have the cowl mold made. Tail will be a little simpler without the twin rotors, and obviously, I hope, a lot lighter. Canopy area should be a lot easier to just doing the paint work on it. A lot of reasons this makes, to me, an obvious next step from the B25. I wouldn't bother making, and actually I probably made a mistake in making the B25 by not making a plug for a mold for the body. That would have been the ultimate, to get another 2 or 3 ounces off the plane and still have it nice and rigid. But because we have seen how good that B25 flies, and boy, I like the way it flies, and it's so much fun. It's actually the only thing I really look forward to anymore, is getting to the field with the bomber. But Mike Costello wants to build along with us, so now, for sure, it pays to make the mold for the body. And having a molded carbon fiber body, I think, is just going to make this project just about as good as it gets. This is going to be something that's really going to be a lot of fun to work on. Anyway, this is just an extension of what we've already done, and what I was proposing for Kent Tyser, for Brian, is to take what you already know works and just cosmetically change it. Now, this is the fuselage outline which we're going to use for the B25. Well, we want to make the B26, the A26. What I want to keep in perspective is I want to have less, and he's going to come over here. I want him to kind of reshape this so it turns into the A26. And there's a couple little things. This has a glitch in the back here, and it comes down. I'm just going to rough this out so I can make my point. But what we're going to try to do is get the wing in the same position, and we want to use Dave Downey's wing. It's the same templates, in fact, because we know this force arrangement works. We want to have the nacelle, which is almost exactly the same. The length, these nacelles on the A26 go way back too. That should look pretty cool. We want to have the motors in the same location, and I have one change I want to make to how that worked. We made just enough room for the fuel tanks. So this is all information we can use. I like to have the gear length, the right length, and then I know I can use 11-inch props. You see what I'm trying to do? I want it wherever the B25 tail is, I want to have the A26 tail in the same spot. Now, on the B25 tail, let's just say this is the shape of the tail, and I'm just making this as rough as can be. The A26 will have little tips, but we're not going to change a whole lot. The B25 is a straight. Let me just put this on the camera. B25 is a straight. A26 we're just going to take and put the dihedral, a little less than scale dihedral. But we're going to use, what we're trying to do is this is what we want exactly the same. I want all the things that matter, the hinge lines, the elevators, all of this to be the same. I want the wing in the same spot. I want the motor in the same spot. I want the tail on the same spot. And then I'm going to add the cosmetic things, like instead of 2 rudders, this ship is going to have 1 big rudder. Yeah, well, you know what? We'll figure this part out. This is a cosmetic thing. But we really want to have the most important, actually, one thing cool about this, we will be able to have an adjustable rudder, which we don't have on a B25. So we'll have even more choices. But again, when I do the wing, the B25 wing, I'm exaggerating, looks a little bit like this. Well, what we're going to do is use the same templates, the same total amount of dihedral, which is 1 inch of dihedral, but it's going to be the same wing. So what I'm hoping is that'll set the lead outs in exactly the same spot as they are, and I can copy that right off the B25. I want to take as much from the B25 and put it into the A26 as possible, and that's a way that's worked. It's worked for everybody I know that's ever done it. It's transposing all things that work or you think work. And now, the thing that we fought all along, we started out at 86 ounces and we knocked this down. We got it down to 79 the last time I put it on a scale. Well, I think number one, having this carbon body, we're going to be realistically shooting for 75 ounces. Very realistically, we'll have the B25 Brodak color to keep it looking as realistic as possible. We'll have some real nice trim. There are a lot of trim. Mike Costello likes the black version. I wouldn't be drawn to the black one. I kind of like the silver. And we'll look for a version. We're going to start gathering data. We're going to look for a version that we really like the paint job, and maybe the same way we did with the B25, do an incredible amount of ink work on it and stuff, but having that carbon body. And that's where we're going to start, hopefully in the next day or maybe today. We're going to start laying out all the drawings and coming up with what we want to keep and what we want to modify, but we want the overall result. I want the same length plane, I want the moment arms the same, I want this the same, the shapes the same, the dihedral the same, and then everything else can be cosmetic, and that's why we pay less, the big money, because he's real good at doing that. Now, like anything, the A26 is really, to me, an interesting plane, and this is the version that Les and I both seem to like. It's all silver. It's got the stars and bars. Got the girl sitting up on a wing. It's something about an all-silver bomber. What I was surprised is, I was very surprised to see how small an A26 is. It's really a gun platform. I mean, relative to a person, look how small this is. It's not, and if you watch that movie Always, it's surprising. There's almost very little room in the cockpit, almost like a Tiger Cat, but we're going to come up with some version of this that I'm sure is going to be real nice. With Les's help, of course.
In action book. And right here you have a scale drawing. We don't know what the scale is, but right here we have a scale drawing.
And that's completely scale. That's
right.
That's stretched or anything.
No, that is perfectly scale. There are other drawings in here on the specification page. Where?
But anybody who's going to build a semi-scale plane, this is the way we do it. Al Raby has his way of doing it with the projector, but this way seems to work pretty good for us.
Anyway,
Or you just get Dave Downey to do it.
Right.
But right now he's not available. He's on.
The picture in the front is this same picture, but it's enlarged. Okay.
Right.
This is workable because it's already large. Here we have all of our specifications. The wingspan is 71 feet 6 inches. So your wingspan is what, 72 inches? So we know we have to be around
an inch to a foot.
An inch to a foot.
Right.
Okay. So basically what I did was I went over to the local.
And this would work, by the way, for the Skyraider, which Les is one of his projects. It would work if you're making a P-40, a Bearcat, or whatever.
Anything.
This is a good place to start with these books.
Yeah.
And you can buy these in almost anywhere. They even have them in Barnes & Noble now. These are a good place to start and a good place to decide, like, which version of the plane you want to make. You want to make, in the case of an A26, they have a clear nose, they have the cannon nose. And Les loves to make cannons. Hey, don't let me forget to bring those cannons to the Nats.
We still got those jigs?
Yeah, oh geez.
So anyway, basically what I did was I had the guy play around with it, and we could only get it up to, on the first pass, we could only get it so big, okay? But when I took this and made the measurements and said, I want this dimension here to be a reasonable fraction of 50 feet 8 inches. When I measured it and worked out the scale, I said, if I get 130% enlargement of this drawing, we hit it right on the head. Well, here it is at 130%. This is exactly 1/4 of what we want in real life.
Right.
In other words, this is 12.5 inches.
We want 50.
Brings us right out to where we are.
Okay.
It's actually a little less than 12.5. So all we have to do is blow this up. We'll put a data line right on the thrust line, right down here.
Use the thrust line, and that's a good way to do it.
In red, and then we'll mark off. Some places you have to mark off more frequently because you have curves. Other places they're relatively straight. We'll just
Or you can grid it. You can do 1-inch grids and then.
Well, basically that's what we're doing. But what we're doing is we're plugging in the 1-inch grids only where we need them. Not lucky, because this is 5 inches. Will be 5 inches on the full scale, and this is. Actually, it's 4 3/4.
Okay.
and it's a little short.
But I gotta go get the mold and measure the mold.
Actually, I'll tell you something.
But they're gonna be interchangeable one way or another.
The contour is not bad.
No, the contour is real close. And instead of having that scoop on top, this has a little bit of a lip. You can see in some of the frontal views what that looks like.
You see the contour really is very similar.
Right. Now the length of the nacelle, you've got to figure we've already cheated this.
Yeah.
This is on the real model. This is increased 1.25 inches. But then increase this some amount just so it looks proportional. Because from the top view, the nacelles stick out.
Yeah, but look at this. Here you have at least 1/3 of the nacelle ahead of the wing. Here you don't even have 25% of the nacelle.
But we're going to increase. No, this is the original drawing. We changed this.
Oh, how much longer did you...
Inch and a quarter.
Oh!
That's why we did it. It's going to be perfect. I'm telling you, it's going to be... When you get done, now Les is going to take him down to his drafting table and do pro work. And he said I'll have them done by tomorrow morning when I have the coffee ready, but Les has lied in the past. I think he's going to see Saving Nemo tonight or something.
No.
No, but that's going to work.
I am saving...
The fact that this is more scale, now you just line up the front of the windshield, wherever it is. In other words, if you move the nacelle, you move the windshield.
Right.
Let this come out the same length.
Right.
Place the tail where it goes. Bingo.
I didn't know you...
Quiet, Chicky. And by tomorrow morning, we're going to have A26 drawings in the bank.
Wendy, here's what I'm going to do. I'll make the side view of the fuse.
Right.
Okay? And I'll give the approximate location of the wing and the horizontal flying surfaces.
Just take them right off of that.
On the drawing. Then we'll cut out, we'll make a separate drawing and make a template.
Oh, for the nacelle.
For the nacelle, for the wing, and for this, and we'll adjust everything on the scale drawing.
But remember now, here's what happens. When you put a stunt wing in here, you go down...
That's fine. That's why we're making...
And that's okay.
That's why we're making templates so we can slide everything around.
But what we want to have is when you're all done, that the bottom of the nacelle comes out within 1/2 inch of the bottom of the fuselage. So, and that looks really scale, and that... I mean, that's a nice profile scale, because don't forget, we're not going to have this much dihedral in the wing.
Yeah.
So you're going to see this side view looks really like a nice side view.
Now, consider something. If you draw, I would bet you this comes awfully close. From the back of the cowl, at least to the flap hinge line, it's a straight line.
And those nacelles, by the way, are round. They're not egg-shaped. The B-25, they're elliptical. But this we probably could take and put on a lathe, make a plug, and just mold shells.
Presto.
Shells-o-matic.
Presto. Not even shells-o-matic. Why not do it in carbon fiber?
You could do that too. Sure, we could make carbon fiber shells to put around the motor and whatever.
What you do is you make a plywood F1. Okay. The plywood F1 would lie somewhere ahead of the cowl flaps, slightly ahead.
Yeah, you're right. You could make, and then you need a landing gear mount. You need a bulkhead to mount the gear on.
Right.
And that's it.
But F1, F2, motor mounts, and then maybe a box for the tank, and that would support the landing gear.
A carbon box, yeah, because we're going to have carbon fuel tanks. Shush, Chicky.
Bonded all together with secondary resin.
He's biting me. Get out of here.
The secondary bonding resin, then all we have to do is make up a shell for the back.
Make a shell for the back, make a plug, make a rubber mold. You'd have all carbon shells too.
Listen to what I'm saying. If we make the nacelles symmetrical in back, in other words, they're round and they're tapered.
Right.
Guess how many plugs you'd have to make?
One. Yeah, it's one.
You'd have to make a half a plug.
Oh yeah, because you can flip it. Sure.
2, 3, 4.
Sure, that's great. You're right. No, I gotta pay you more than I'm paying you. I would double your salary.
And then you have a balsa bulkhead on the back of the...
Yeah, you gotta see where the gear come out, because you need to put a little plate in there, a bulkhead or something.
But you have a bulkhead there, you have a bulkhead on the front. You don't even need formers in there, just...
No. Done deal. Carbon. Now all we need is, when you get the preliminary drawing, I'm gonna start making a plug, because we got time. Do you know what day it is? Ah, he bites me. Do you know what day it is, you dumb bird? It's Michelle's birthday. You're supposed to be getting her a birthday present. Yeah. It's Michelle's birthday. Now, for whatever reason, he's making me crazy today, but we're getting ready to have a big birthday. Chicky, get out of there. Getting to have a nice birthday party for Michelle. Look at this bird. Get! Les is down working on the... Where's that bird now? Evil twin. He bites me! Get off! Trying to be nice. We're gonna kill this bird. Look at him. Watch him bite me. Hey! It's Michelle's birthday. Little bird. What? What? Birthday. Birthday parties are so much fun here in the Artnowski house. Oh, digital camera. Not a digital camera. Wow.
Yours is different. Yours is even...
It's a lot.
Bobby, yours is an elf, right?
You gonna take a picture of Chicky for me?
This one's a nice one now.
Chicky wants to be on pictures.
That's pretty. I don't know how to use it. That's really pretty, Michelle, because I just got it.
Chicky will give you lessons.
It's a nice little gift.
Yeah.
It has a remote control so that we don't have to take pictures like this anymore together. I can put it somewhere and then make sure that I can see
Yeah, you walk away, yeah.
with a remote control. Oh, that's
Birthday cake.
hamburgers and hot dogs, right in there. Mom, I have a big plate of salad already, so I'm gonna go get it now.
There's a special Karen cake.
I'm gonna get salad, I just have to show you. This one is Verizon's like, Bobby, do you want salad?
Karen always does. She made a nice table setting. We're expecting more guests.
It's strange.
And we hope you don't mind sharing our little family birthday party. God, I wish I was 26. Can you imagine? Grill boy. Grill boy out here. What's on the grill here?
Pull his pants down.
Oh, pull his pants down. Look at this.
Baby.
Oh, I'm ready. I'm ready.
No.
I'm ready.
Give him that little quarter turn so that you get a nice...
Come on. I don't want to, I want the little, like X-Mark. You want to get a job in Burger King?
Oh, that's what I aspire to, actually. I'm looking...
The pond looks like after 37 days of rain, we're living in a virtual jungle. I wish it would stop raining so we could go flying. Oh! Even the bird feeder is full of water. Look at this poor bird feeder. Now we are looking forward to seeing these drawings that Les is going to come up with, but today is...
You have to wait?
Yeah, a couple more minutes.
Okay.
Everything's blooming away out here. Look at all these purple. This started out to be an outdoor barbecue. Now it's an indoor. Look at all these burgers. An indoor barbecue.
Don't anyone say anything about anybody else.
Are we going to sing happy birthday to Michelle or not? Or are we going to eat first?
Wendy, unless you want to say happy birthday first,
I do. I want to put my polka dot pajamas on and sing happy birthday.
it's my favorite.
Hey to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Michelle. Happy birthday to you. Hey! Hey, Chicky wants to come up here and have some cake. Hey! Here's the deal. We went up to the club field this morning. It was underwater. Mike cut some trees down. And I come home, I'm doing my email, and Les walks in with da-da-da-da. Oh! Oh, my God. Hello, 826.
That is impressive.
Wow. Now tell me this doesn't make you want to build.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'll go make some coffee. You build it for me.
I laid awake till 4 in the morning thinking Skyraider.
Oh, I'm telling you, that is going to... Look at a profile.
Profile is great. Absolutely great. You know what? It's longer.
Yeah.
And higher than a B20, or thinner than a B25. So that's going to present...
How thick is the body when you scale it up? Less than 4 inches?
No, it's more than 4. This distance
Well,
right
it can't
here...
be more than 4.
This is 5 1/8.
No. I mean the width. The width. Did you do a top view too or not?
No, it's more than 4. But you can... what's a B25? 4.5?
4. Can't be more than 4. 4 is the limit.
4.
Yeah, no, you never see it.
We can cheat it.
This rudder is going to look awesome. Oh, man.
Thanks, Chicky.
Chicky, is he doing a chicky poops on you?
No, he's not doing a chicky poop. He's just, he thinks he's Mike Tyson. He's biting on my ear.
Hey, I'm going to go make some coffee. That looks... I'm excited. I'm ready.
The guy brought this from the back room.
Down in today's mail, some kind of a neat card from Pete Klepsik. His custom car, it looks like Saving Nemo here, saving the B-25. Anyway, from Pete Klepsik. Very nice, Pete. I'm impressed. And super congratulations on that win in scale at Brodex. B-25, Bomber Command. This is from our friend Jim Morway. This I believe is a relatively stock Cardinal kit that he's put his own aesthetics on and his own paintwork and some really nice lettering and kind of airbrushing. And you can see Jim's got the updated flat tail. I guess he used the Cardinal wingtips right out of the kit. I'm not sure. I think it's Rojet powered too. Look out on a wingtip and see how nice. Now see, this is all airbrushed in. We've had pictures similar to this. God of the Winds. I'm not sure how you say that. Aeolus. Very cute. Very nicely done. Very creative. Nice ink work too. And had a lettering underneath is just fogged in. And what's unique here, he's got the gear like the Spitfire where the wheels are on the outside. Kind of unique. Nice cockpit detail too. This is Jim's Europa, Profile Europa. Check the airbrush work out. Look at it real close. There's really some artwork in this. It's got a Weber 32 on a tune pipe. And just look up on the nose and see. Look at some of the details on this. This is pretty cool. He's got the gold anodized gear. Beautiful airbrush work. Now, if you look real close at the pilot is big art. Anyway, very unique from Jim Morway. I have to admit that is very, very unique. I'm not sure how this system works. He's got a kind of an adjustable. He didn't send a drawing. He didn't send any plans. But from looking at the pictures, it looks like he's got like a control arm with a very long upright. Anyway, really talented. I love the paintwork. I have to tell you, this is really neat stuff. Very nice.
Now it's fun looking at the Brodag videos here. Went up to the club field this morning, took a flight, didn't even bring the video camera because it's so underwater and muddy, and I wound up hitting a bird. I hit a little blackbird in the overhead 8. Didn't hit him with the prop. I'm just watching his combat now, but what happened was kind of knocked him out, I guess, knocked him silly or something. I put him up by where we keep the tools, and it looked like he just might be unconscious or something. He wasn't missing any parts. And when I was flying the next flight, he just got up, staggered around, got up and flew away. Kind of a nice end to something I thought was going to be a tragic day up there. And this actually doesn't even have a dent in the leading edge. I'm sure I hit him with either the wing or the tail, but there isn't a dent in the plane. Now I've seen some really nice stuff. This is from Ed Cotton, Canada. Now check this out. He's one up the windy here. Now you know we have a control line circle. We wanted to add an RC area, and
I asked Ed, because he's a professional model maker, to help me out here. Look at this. He's got the little guy. Look at the detail on this. It's a little transmitter. We're going to go install him on a railroad right now. And by the way, this is Ed, you're a little under the weather here. This is an exact copy of the model that Ed flies. It's called the Typhoon. We've shown pictures of that on a video already. The real full size. I think him and his son both have Typhoons. Anyway, let's go see how it looks on the railroad. And we gotta start our RC area. Ed is going to make me one a day for the rest of his life until we have every RC flyer in the world. Right, Ed? Right, Wendy.
I really like this. We got RC people, speed flyers here at Cardinal Field. That's great. And we got plenty of people here for the air show today. And RC right on the same field. Fabulous. Ed, thank you very much. I think we'll go over and have a little ice cream right now. Have a nice ice cream bar. And Ed, you're up next. I love these little additions to the layout. And we have a scaled Corsair. We have some people in the background. We have a ballerina. We have a cardinal, a chief, an Olympic. Dubjet, Richard Oliver's speed models up here in the front. Zambelli's playing with retracts. And of course, George Aldrich. It's just a lot of fun. A great way to spend an evening. Russ is working on his Paladin 40 wing here.
So just make sure you get it lined up in cradle. Now we got the top edge is not yet covered with fiberglass. So all we got is the bottom, and we want to get this nice and true, right?
Yeah, let's see what. Okay, so it's rough right now.
Sure, right. That was trimmed. Now with a 90-degree block like that.
And your friend made these with a precision table saw and hardwood.
Just a table saw.
Okay.
And a piece of oak.
And this is that sticky back paper you
This
get
is
at
the sticky back
Woodworkers Paradise.
Right. Woodworkers Warehouse. So basically, if you're pushing with a little bit of pressure, you got it at 90 degrees to the table.
Right.
Watch how nicely this takes off.
Oh, that's beautiful, yeah. Now, assuming this is a wing you don't want to have dihedral in, this is a good way to give it a fair shot at not being a B-25. Yeah, that looks like it's going to work well.
And all it requires a little care and not too much pressure.
I like those sanding blocks you brought from Dog Valley. I can't wait to use those on the A26.
Oh, I'm taking those home with me.
Well, if you can find them.
No.
Tricky hid them. They're over there in the secret spot. I've been trying to make them go behind that desk.
The drawback with these, Wendy, now here you got the ultimate control, and you got an aluminum surface that slides. The only problem is the height.
Yeah, you need 4 inches. What is that, 3? Oh, that's 2.
No, it's probably about 2.
Yeah.
Yep.
You need a bigger extrusion.
When I asked Bill to cut those blocks for me, I cut them out of 2x4. So at a minimum, they're 3.5, maybe 3 5/8.
Yeah. But there's no substitute for having it all. Having the big blocks, the little blocks, the medium blocks.
Right.
What are they, 4?
No, there's 3 1/4. They're
Okay.
fine.
But that seems to work good for, well, for the purposes that we're using here.
Yeah. So what have I made now? Maybe 6 passes?
Yeah. Let me see if you can see the cut is nice. And then the next thing you're going to do is, this is the ring that's already glassed. This will need to be sanded out with a soft block with 320, and then we'll put that on the batch that's going up to Johnny's.
You've got your sharp edge, right?
It's a razor edge, yeah. You know, that's important too when you're going to do the 2 joints together. You'll get a nice wood-to-wood fit. You don't get wood from with
Not only that,
a sloppy fit. Yeah, exactly.
All right, you got to get in a shower.
Yeah, my day is over. It's fun and games. We have to do, we're getting ready for big 4th of July. Well, you can see how much rain we've really had. We really have had, like, the world's record of rain. But one of the nice sides is the garden is absolutely blooming, growing. All the plants are growing. It's just an unbelievably beautiful. Last 3 or 4 days it's been in the 90s, and we hope the field's going to be, I know Mike's been working on the field every night. We hope the field's going to be a little better. Today is the fun fly put together, and tomorrow is our annual circle burner contest and the fly off for the Red Reinhardt Cup, which is always a lot of fun. Oh, I know I always like to share little thoughts, Karen and I, that we really do enjoy our gardening, our pond, and we have a whole generation of baby fish in there now that are growing up. Looks like we're going to have whole nother slew of them very soon. For birdhouses, which he's been making for the neighbors and for friends and relatives for presents, has just turned out to be one of her favorite little things, and we've got them. You can see them all over the place. There's some in the back here. In fact, we even have birds. Look at this. We have birds right on our pond in the morning. Birds at the feeder, baby birds. We had a baby cardinal that passed away not long ago. And we have a very mysterious bird that comes to our feeder about once a week. He's all white. He's snow white, and we haven't figured out what kind of bird he is, or if he's just an ordinary finch and an albino. I'm not sure, but he's snow white. I've been trying to videotape him for a week, but just haven't been able to catch him. Every time he's there, the camera's down in the cellar. Anyway, we're off to the circle burner field. We hope the weather's going to be nice. We hope we don't hit any more baby birds. Well, better for us and better for the plane if we can avoid contact. Anyway, every morning I have my coffee out here. Karen just went off to a garage sale, and I'm off to the circle burner field. So Dwayne drives all the way from Bumblejinsky out there. Nobody's flying to Long Island anymore? Where's Lampione and,
They do.
they fly at Flushing still?
Yes. Not as much on Saturdays as they would on Sundays. And then it's just it's a little difficult being there on your own,
Well, you're better off here.
figuring it all out.
Re-siphon your fuel while you're flying. put rubbing alcohol in your fuel and stuff. Anyway, Mike Kajeski, if you can see the job he did on the field, this was underwater for the last couple of weeks. Right up until recently, there's no way you could fly here. And he's done a wonderful job. Palm Hampshire Sato 72 Powered Cardinal. He's got a mechanism that allows him to open or shut the prow, not while it's flying, but just like you would, like an adjustable Venturi, it adjusts the carburetor, so he can set the RPM with the prow, which I guess is, not guess, I know it's the right way to do it. In fact, they just wrote about it in Stunt News. 3 years after we've been doing it, 3 years later they write about it in Stunt News. How convenient.
Now, when we had done the original Sato 72s and the Max 70, we realized right away there was some advantage anyway to being able to adjust like having an adjustable Venturi, and it already came with the engine. Of course, there's about a 1 ounce of more weight penalty, but it's one of the things Tom is continuing to work on. We used that on a 91 in the Typhoon. We used it with the Z-Tron, of course. But I think it's exciting that we get to see a lot of different packages now. Guys doing different things that years ago nobody would have done. People doing experiments with 4 strokes, boom pipe stuff. Just a lot of cool stuff happening. Anyway, it looks like we're going to have a night. The field is in immaculate condition. And it looks like we got a nice crowd starting to filter in here. And we're just going to have a nice relaxing, I hope a nice relaxing day. We'll find out right away. Mike Cooper has already purchased a Strega kit, and we made him a custom pipe just like Kent Tyser, so maybe this time next year he'll be running, well, he's got a 65 Rojet and one of the Windy custom pipes. The beautiful Brodak Olympic Mike Cooper's done. And we have a world famous guest here, Arnie Haber. What is Arnie famous for? He went to the same school Rich went to. He passed, Rich failed. They sent Rich off to Stuka school. Arnie stayed with the American program.
And he started making bras. And I ended up in a brassiere factory.
Show us your jewelry, Arnie. So, look at this, he's got a gold bra. He really did sell bras.
That's 38 years worth. That goes to show you what kind of education we had and how effective we
He had to make a decision. Is it going to be Curtiss Wright radial engines or bras? Let's see. Engines, bras, engines, bras. I'll burn with the bras. Arnie has the biggest O-gauge train layout in the world, I think. How big is your layout? 500 square feet?
400 square feet.
Oh! He was inspirational in getting me to build my layout. What a guy. And he's got me all the bras I can wear for the rest of my life.
And certainly you need one.
Yeah, I'm looking like You sell girdles too?
He's very desirable of a Triple D cup.
Woo!
He's been watching the Playboy channel a lot.
It's the only channel I watch.
That's where he's getting his education.
Well, I'll tell you, they didn't waste college on you guys. What was the name of that school?
Manhattan Aviation.
Manhattan Aviation? Well, that's the reason we won the war.
But you went to the one in Long Island. I went to the one on 65th Street.
That's the one I went to.
Oh, I thought you went to the new one.
No, I didn't go.
Oh, yeah? That's the old Baron de Hirsch High School.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, the wooden floors.
Well, that was a fire.
Lock hinges too, man, after my own heart.
Isn't that nice?
Lock hinges and everything.
Bruce Olson and Dick Carvella down here from Massachusetts.
Hey, Wendy.
Yeah, let's go see the Raven. The Concourse, I should say Concourse winning Raven. Looks great, Dick.
Thank you.
This plane won the Concourse at our, the fall meet? Or was it a June meet? I don't remember.
Yeah, it was the fall meet last year.
And deservedly so. In fact, I was the judge, so I could have been had for a few bucks less. Yeah, that was clear.
Still in the mail.
That was clear, yeah.
I was gonna say, I hope you got him for every list. Nickel.
Don't worry, he did. You don't think I made my mortgage payment late that month? And Bruce Olson's. What's the name of this guy? I can't read the name.
What did my daughter name that one?
I can't read the writing. Born.
Oh, that's their initials.
Oh. I thought it was Brunjaha. I thought maybe you had converted religion.
Kate Nicky.
She wanted me to name it Thunder Chief, and I said, can you cut
No.
it down to like...
Yeah, less letters, yeah.
I'm not spending 6 hours at the drawing board.
Yeah, I like Thunder Chief, yeah.
The Raven is here. And we've just been enduring the warmest, driest day of the year. Dick's hoping it gets even hotter because he's liking this hot weather here.
How about that?
Was it hot up in Mass or not?
Oh yeah, yesterday it was.
Murder, huh?
Better do this.
Anyway, you really don't see it on the video, but this is Tom Hampshire's Rodak Nobler, and it's a beauty. A Weber 32 in there.
What signed that, huh? Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. Oh, you got that up?
In this cold weather, you gotta choke it more. Was it about 110 degrees out here? Nice motor run on this 32. Real nice. Anyway, it's really been a hot day. We are all just thrilled to death that we have the field back. Legitimately, we can fly here. Mike Kajeski deserves the Congressional Medal of Honor or something. He has really done a spectacular job. And we hope tomorrow is going to be just as good and that we're going to have a good contest. Again, it's the fly-off for the Red Reinhardt Cup, one of the age-old traditions of our club dating way back. Always exciting, always a good contest. Very, very few of the Circle Burner June meets have not been decent weather, flyable weather, good turnout, a lot of fun. to that tradition tomorrow. It's good to see Dick and Bruce down from Massachusetts. Well, it was a fabulous day yesterday, and as you can see, we're starting today off with some rain, but they predict it's going to get nicer. So we're just hoping. We've had enough rain for a lifetime. We're just hoping we're going to get up the club field and the rain will go away. But you never know. I've noticed when I feed the fish on a rainy day, it seems like they always go underwater to avoid getting wet. Anyway, we're watching our babies every day. They're getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Got some nice little guys in here this year. And as I said before, with all the rain we've had this year, the yard is just full of flowers. Everything's blooming away. The whole town of Rutherford actually looks really nice. Anyway, this time of year, in this part of the world, it's rain or sunshine, and we don't know which. Well, it'll be interesting to see how the weather holds up today, how it pans out. But it's always a bit unpredictable. And I guess that's part of what makes it so interesting, so challenging, and so much fun. Well, by the time we got to the field, it stopped raining so far anyway. Who said he died?
That guy went to hell.
Man, I was picturing how much I could get for your Spitfires on eBay when you're dead. That'll be a collector's item. Look at another guy.
Well, it's so funny.
Well, you were laughing, right? Moron. And then this guy cuts his finger off, and then 2 hours later gets a Band-Aid. Real men don't bandage themselves up on battlefield.
I was debating as to whether or not I should go to Brodak. So he said to me, Rich, you got to go to Brodak this year, because next year you're going to die, and if you die next year, you'll never be able to go.
You may not even make it to Christmas for crying out loud.
With that statement, I got to go to Brodak.
Yeah, you got us all worried about eating a salami sandwich, you know, with its heart attack stuff.
You had fun there.
We did. Well, absolutely. No.
Yeah, he'll never go again. He didn't have any fun.
It was great. Really,
We're going to do picnics next year. Picnic benches and get a big barbecue. Brodak said he's going to put a barbecue pit. Yeah, well, we'll make a barbecue pit.
Nose wheel almost. On the top.
You hear that, John? They're talking about you.
He said he would.
Level off that nose wheel.
No, you know,
You going to fly to Stuntress today?
that's the only thing I'm driving.
Oh, okay. One pump going to be enough? You're going to make that one leak right off? I'd go home and put some JB Weld on it before you put fuel in it.
There's JB Weld already on it, and I guarantee that when I put this on my bottle, I won't get a half a jug.
How many have you broken so far?
Within a year, I went through a dozen
Oh,
that you
man.
don't even know I took from you.
I know. I know, I look at my inventory, there's one a week missing. Al Knight firing up his Cardinal. A lot of Cardinals here.
Oh man. I heard of that one. Hours. I heard of that one.
So did you see Dave Downey, Joe? Talk to him at work?
I see him at work.
Did you get a bank number?
No. Between me and Mo, we're going to make you rejoin today.
As long as McMillan is president, I will have nothing to do with that organization. As long as he has the attitude he has about literally not giving a shit about the numbers, I will not join that organization. You should join, or you can vote for John Bodak. If John Bodak wins, you gotta join. You gotta join the vote. No sense crying if you can't join. Join and vote.
Join the vote, then if he doesn't win, you could rejoin. You don't get a refund for rejoining. Maybe you send your magazine to us.
Oh, bad. You guys are bad. No, no way. John Brodak's more qualified. I think Dave Downey should win. He likes to do that stuff. Oh, it's mumbling and jumbling, baby. It's time to fly. Time to All right, what do we got, kids? This one of the first pre-made flight streaks?
ARF.
Yeah. These go for $100?
$63.
63. Did you fly it yet?
Oh yeah, it flies pretty good.
What do you got in there, Neil?
A Norvell 25.
25? Okay, so that's about the right size. That's a nice little package.
Anything larger than a 25. The only thing I paid was landing gear, which is a nice cut.
That's what the opening is cut for, basically at 25.
I'll bet they're gonna sell 1 million of these. They gotta wind up selling 1 million. Yeah, I know.
I had to add tip weight to it. And the fuselage is built up.
You kidding me?
Nope. Built up.
You mean it's all solid?
Oh, don't squeeze it for crying out loud.
Squeeze it! Squeeze it! Squeeze it!
He wouldn't want me to do a suntress like that.
No.
What's that covered with? Point.
It's built up.
That's actually a real nice job.
I couldn't do as good amount of poetry as that.
Well, that's not the point. The point is that you don't have to do it.
Yeah, right.
Even if it's not as good. I mean, a cake that you don't have to bake, even if it's not perfect, is still edible.
The kit is $50. It doesn't pay you to build it.
Yeah.
You know what?
I changed the tank. The tank was too small.
Okay.
Don't like the bill.
Even a big kid wants to get in.
What does it mean?
I know Brodak's selling
You
them.
don't make your own shoes.
Yeah, he sold 6 of them. That's what they allow him to do. 6 of them.
Yeah, you know, does Sammy Sosa make his own bat? No.
With the cork in it?
The cork bat? No, we're the only ones in the world gotta make our own junk.
This is going to be a fun airplane.
Oh, I think that might even be events just for arts.
No, there's gonna be a day, and I'm gonna figure out, I know a guy that goes to the Orient, pre-made Brodak Cardinals.
There you go.
I know it. You guys are laughing. I know it's a possibility. I'll bet you any money I'd sell a lot of them.
I bet you would. The profile cardinal?
Profile Cardinal.
That's a hell of a head on that.
You know how many
I bet I'd sell 200-300 a year.
200-300? I think you'd sell more than that.
So Joe, what I want to have is pre-made B-25s for $75. Neil's gonna make them. He's retired. He's got a lot of extra time on his hands.
I just...
Be honest. How could you make this? There's impossible. You couldn't even buy the wood and the monocoat and the glue. That's ridiculous.
And it's straight, too. It's laser cut.
Well, Brodak's got a laser cutter.
But this is all laser cut.
So what Brodak has to do is empty out one of those warehouses you have here and import a lot of... Where's this made? China?
Taiwan?
China.
China? Yeah, Greenland, China?
His labor. It says China on it.
star I should call. Now soon to be. You should get a shirt with a big star on it.
Why is she a movie star?
She taught the guy out at Brodax, the what is he, the news reporter? Or
Oh, okay. Oh, so
you had your page,
was on
your
Brodax
picture on the
TV?
news. They didn't put my picture on the news.
John, it was on Brodax TV?
Pittsburgh.
Oh, terrific.
Channel 2.
Pretty cool.
Is that the one with that special poured-out foam wing?
Yeah, that's Phil Cartier.
Now who makes that? That's Cartier's thing?
Cartier Courthouse.
The thing is big enough. Holy cow! How many square inches is that? Watch him back up over the. You hear a crunch as you back up.
Wheel chuck.
Yeah, wheel chuck. A flight. Yeah, it happened more than once. Look at the size of this thing.
I messed it up.
Is this an ARF too?
No, this is
Cartier's plane.
This is Cartier's, yeah.
You got enough nose weight on it?
Oh, it's so tail heavy.
Why is it? Is that a solid tail?
Foam wing, I think it's
Foam
covered
wing,
with it's
covered with
varnished
paper.
and tissue.
Covered with linoleum or something?
Paper.
And then monocoat. That's 740 square inch wing.
Yeah, 7.
How does it? But how does it fly?
Combat.
It looks like a combat.
Turns like.
Why don't you make flaps for it?
This is Phil Cartier's design. This is weight.
So what? People do that to everybody's design. Oh, you think you're the first one?
I wanted to build his design. So, like I had your Cardinal
Yeah.
stock.
It'd be like Henry Ford's. You change it into a Lampion plane.
This is about 50 ounces when the Cardinal was 40, 43, 40, 42, 43, somewhere around there.
It's got enough lift. Look at the wings.
Oh,
That's a nice thick wing, sure.
but that's his,
A lot of lift.
that's his, core wing. The only thing I don't care for is the way the bell crank is put in. It's very difficult.
But you just buy the wing from him? Is that what
No,
happens?
this is his kit.
Or it's a kit?
This
And how
is-
much is the kit?
$85.
Oh, that's a deal. No deal.
This is his kit. Everything's exactly like his on his plans.
Yes, unfortunately, Rich Jacobone's got to leave early today. He's got a family engagement.
Is that his first official?
Nah, he's got to leave early. I think they're just letting him fly. I don't know what the deal is. And I might have not mentioned this on the tape before, but Rich has secured us. Hey, nice pull-out, Rich. We have tentatively, very soon, going to have a new flying field to complement the one we have in Palisade Park, all due to Rich Peabody and Rich Jacobone doing a good job of playing politics. And we look forward to seeing that. Of course, we're not going to have it in time for, well, maybe we will before the summer's out. I don't know. They haven't given us a deadline, but we've already got the circle marked out and we've been working on it. So, Bomber Command can use all the fields it can get, that's for sure. And I really think these ARFs are going to add a dimension to our event that, and boy, you already got some people already moaning and groaning. Heaven forbid we should bring some people in that don't have time to build planes. But believe me, if you can get some new people involved, they'll graduate up to every level, every possible level. And anything that can get more people involved, keep people involved. For instance, when you only have one plane left, as several people I know, and they have an accident with that plane or whatever, and you can just buy a Nobler or a Flight Streak, at least finish flying through the flying season. I really think that's a positive thing for the event. Anyway, because we're coming up near the end of this tape, we're going to try to get everybody on this tape a little bit if we can, but probably if the weather holds, we'll switch to a second tape and try to capture some of the action for the Red Reinhardt Cup. Some of the fly-off footage, I don't know what we're going to get, and hope it doesn't rain, because so far, it really looks good. How big is this?
At 86.
Wow, neat. They had a B-17 out at Brodak, flying with a zero at the same time, both with motor control. I know a guy has a zero.
I'm not going to build it, so I'm selling it.
That's me. Turn the bottom over. I want to see what you did on this. I know you did some work.
Oh, yeah, repair work.
You did, let's see, and of course...
Well, no, what I did is I replaced the horn.
You did the horn, yep, I remember.
I gotta learn how to touch up better, but check this out.
That's fine.
While I was using my soldering iron to, get the, the washer and
Yeah, I know.
I was
Set the plate on fire.
Yeah, it's easy to set.
Never did, yeah.
For every time I did.
Let me see the tail wheel up close. This is nice how you did the tail wheel.
down on my Argus, by the way.
Look how nice that tail wheel mount. Oh, man.
That's for my kind of
What do you run for power on it now, Joe?
60, I got tire 60.
I get 60.
And,
You were messing with that, what'd you think?
that horn went in nice, man. Look, it didn't, hardly...
Be aware of something, Joe. This tubing does not stand the test of time.
No, I know that. It's on every thing.
Yeah, no, but it's... I've had that for pressure in the middle of a flight. It melts. That's a problem.
One yet?
No, this is at diesel neoprene stuff. Problem is, it's for decoration.
Yeah, make it
Gosh, for a
pretty.
change, we're going to have
The red stuff doesn't melt.
10 years old, Wendy.
Yeah, I'm impressed. When are you going to give it to me?
Wicked beauty.
I'll take it. I like 10-year-old planes. I'm into 10-year-olds. I got one coming up on its 20th.
10-year-olds.
Yeah, you're into 10-year-olds. My van is 10 years old.
Hey, I'll do anything to get nose weight out of the airplane.
Yeah, it puts a
Put a
four-bladed...
four-bladed spinner on.
It looks nice.
Yeah, it's coming to the end of the trail. I got to start.
How's the bipe coming? You got the bipe all?
That's a fun plane for next year, but starting not tomorrow, but maybe Tuesday, I'm going to be working on the yellow Spitfire to get it with the tune pipe.
Oh, okay, right,
Get it working.
right.
So
You need a spare pipe? I got some pipes in the truck.
Yeah, what happened to my pipe?
It's in the truck.
Okay, you're gonna give it back to me eventually.
When I feel like it.
Before it's burnt up.
When I feel like it.
I lent him a pipe.
eventually, if not,
I don't remember you loaning. I remember you renting me one. Look at his mouth. His mouth doesn't move. Look
And
at
he
this.
said, I gotta go ahead and see how this flies with this, that, and the other. I said, go ahead, Wendy, no problem. So he
Then I sold his pipe.
Then he gave it back to me. It was cooked. I said, what am I gonna
We
do
gotta
with
make
this?
the pipes out of cast iron.
Not my Rich, you know the thing? Not my problem. That's that.
I said, Wendy, this is shot. Oh, well, there's just so many times that you can use it.
And then you buy another. You buy another one. Oh, that's a battleship. Boy, if a mouse gets caught in that, that's the ultimate mousetrap.
there's some things you like here.
The latch is built from one half of a Stanley 3-inch hinge. Okay. Right, that'll wear right out in 10 flights. You can hold a van back with this thing.
It's about 10 years or better. I don't know how long.
Yeah.
And then it's also important to have this hinge so you can adjust to the height of the
Okay, right.
stooge loop. And it's also important to have a stop on it.
Yeah, so it doesn't flip over.
Yeah, well,
And
I
break the
never had a
prop.
problem until I started flying the 65 and then it started flipping the thing up and hitting the rudder. And one other thing too,
And what does that gizmo do?
when you're out at the center of the circle pulling on your lines, it keeps you from pulling the thing off of the stooge.
Oh, yeah.
Wheel goes up against that,
Okay, yeah, gotcha.
so that it stays lined up right.
Yeah. Now that's especially true if you don't use foam wheels. When you use like Sullivan wheels where they're rubber, I've had it where you pull it and the plane moves over.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's a good point.
He does that too.
See, another thing, you can put sandpaper or soft, something to roughen it up.
That works great.
Yeah, that's good.
I've had this stooge since I started flying by myself. 10, 12 years ago.
Yeah, and obviously you're still alive, so.
Yeah, I got the parts of this thing at the hardware store,
Yeah,
My old Stanley.
the hardest thing to get is to go find a chunk of, well, you could make this out of plywood, it's a half-inch plywood.
Good, yeah, you can make it out of
And if you were, hurting for funds,
it can last forever.
varnish it like Mike does, put a finish on it, no, the oil won't get in there. Yeah, that'd be fine. That's a good stooge.
I spent hours putting this together. Hours.
You can see that our devotion to model aviation is serious. We have Pampa staff meetings, staff lawyers, constitutional revision committees. This is serious stuff.
You guys got to get with the program, you know?
Exactly.
The tradition of this event has to live on
Give
after
me a
you're dead.
nice duck anytime.
Does this thing turn when you fly? I imagine it turns when you go down the road. Looks like it's taking a good ass whipping. He needs a new prop.
He needs a plastic prop that'll, nylon or something that sheds bugs and road dirt.
You know, it'd be funny. We ought to ask him. Oh, here he comes. We ought to ask him if that prop turns. Put some newspaper behind so he won't move. So, the warranty ran out on that one. You got a screwdriver? We can take it and tighten the spinners over. I guess he's selling them. I don't know. Yeah, Clark props. Heartless. The Heartless Plebinski.
But he did a fabulous job, worked all week getting the field in this condition. If you walk from circle to circle, please stay outside of the fence. That way I won't get upset, and I've got a few more gray hairs this year than last year, so I don't need any more. New event.
Okay. That was a quick yourself a lot of, I just like to ask questions.
Ray Ward. Roy Ward.
We have two scores, two of each, or? You want my money or not?
All right. Let's get on the start sheet.
Searching around looking for something different. It's hard to come up with one that, significant. Is this what you want the labeling balls for? Yeah. So you want this stuff. All right, what I'll do is I'll make a note to myself.
How you doing?
Roll them up, put them in some kind of shipping tube, send them to you. You could, make copies or trace them, but just eventually I'd like to have them back. Sure.
I got an ancient Nordic clock.
Well, the last half hour, it looks like we've got certainly a good turnout today. And it looks like the weather might hold, hopefully, for the whole day.
That's no excuse. I'm not doing anything else.
Hey, Wayne, going home yesterday, going across the GW, F-14s over Manhattan.
Wow.
Right down the river.
Cool.
Outstanding. Well, I was flying down the Hudson once, and two OV-1 Mohawks, Broncos.
Oh, yeah. With the high tail, yeah.
All of a sudden, they just went,
Yeah.
whoa. I was like, holy shit, look at that.
Yeah, I know.
What happens a minute later?
One of the oldest planes here, Scott Smith's original wingman. We have the video of buffing this out, and I see the paint is already worn out on the wing. In the old days when people used Sig Dope. Plane is still around. And this one you have to see up close. This one is really pretty. Dick Carvel's Raven.
Hey, that's pretty nice, Michael. Did I square up with you already? Huh? Oh, no?
I see there's a hatch in here. I'm not sure if that's to adjust the controls or... We'll ask him when we see him later. Only got about a minute left on this tape, and we're going to try to transfer into another tape and get the action of the flying. They're looking like the weather's going to hold. Boy, we're hoping.
This is you. Won the contest last year at the
set of plans, and it looks a lot like
intermediate.
Yeah.
so you should be
Wait him up. Yeah.
Well, we'll put the lines out. Propellers, prop kits. You buy one, you gotta... They do the basic machining for you. They get it kind of close.
Windy, I was just telling this guy, you want a prop with a different pitch on both blades.
Right. That's a secret. Don't go giving that away.
Don't tell everybody how...
Joe and I worked that out years ago.
Right, I was telling about the one you gave me.
Spitfire days, yeah.
That's right.
Man, secret. You want to give those secrets to these other guys, forget it.
And I used it for a couple of years until then
For me, some of these, they're one blade is 4.5, one's foot. These work so good, it's unbelievable. They're like the secret of the stunt world.
4x4.5 because I kept those.
They are. No, I got some of them. I got It's your handwriting on them. I still got them.
Oh, okay.
You must have been in a good mood that day. I must have saved your soul from the devil or something.
Okay.
You did give me, and they work great.
Yeah.
Well, looks like we're getting ready for the first flight, and we'll see you on the next tape.
Oh, okay. You're talking to yourself. Okay.